Hello, Culture Matters podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest. It's an old friend of the podcast. If you haven't heard episode 50 of the Culture Matters podcast, you got to listen to that. Here's a quote before I introduce the guest that I picked just for this podcast. Here it is. Most people only do good things on the days they feel good. Kayvon Kay. And the one and only Kayvon is back.
That's a good line. You remember that line.
Dude, I got you. Sales Connection founder. Wow. Culture builder, authority as it relates to brokering ideas, working with winners, coaching winners, guiding winners, looking for winners in the space of not only business, but seems to be beyond that. But outside of all that, I've known Kayvon for years. We met at an event that we had an instant connection, pun intended. And
what was that event again? Remind me.
Jeremy Haynes, who's
yes,
the internet.
That's amazing. Great. Yes, that was in California.
And that I want to say one other thing on that event. That shout out to Jeremy for connecting us. Yeah. That was a special event. We just had Max Finn on the show. Jeremy Adams, who was there as well, has become a friend for like one of my closest friends. And think about it, like Kayvon, like we have known each other now for years. It's the power of gatherings like that is crazy.
Well, that's the power of what this is all about is your culture, right? You're creating your culture around you. It's funny you say that. I've actually been, you asked me if I've been on podcasts. No, I haven't been on podcasts. Have I been going to masterminds? No, I haven't been going to masterminds. I've been so focused on building the sales connection. I actually lost sight of that. And then actually, today we look back and go, man, I lost a lot of opportunity the last 2 years. Sometimes we get so focused in the one thing. We don't look at the long-term vision. Right? Because like you said, we go to a mastermind, we meet. Now I'm on your podcast, not once, twice. Now more people are going to be able to hear our voice, our message, right? That we just recently went to a mastermind, like I'd say maybe not recently, but like 2-3 months ago, walked in with no expectation, walked out with like 5 clients. It's like, holy man, like you kind of you forget how powerful, not only like just clients, but like friends. Actually, another mastermind I was part of almost a year ago now. I just went and visited the guy we were in Arizona, Lake Havasu. You ever been in Lake Havasu?
No,
I've never been there. That place is crazy on a long weekend, man. And I'm talking like I was on my dream Pavati boat. I was on Aeronautiques. Like I was living the life. And it's like none of that would happen if I didn't invest to go into these masterminds or go on the podcast and meet people. So what's the moral here is definitely you got to get out and you get to meet people like you, right? And get outside your comfort zone, right? So
what do you say to the person that's skeptical or stressed and anxious? Because right now they may not be in the strongest position, but they're hearing us pontificate about the value of getting, spending that money.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now. I mean, I remember when I was at my lowest moment, it actually all changed at a mastermind. You can't do it alone, right? Like let's understand this. If you're really good, you can do good things. Okay. If you want to go fast, you can go alone. If you want to go far, you go with a team. Now, if you're not good or you're not great and you don't have a team and you're in the zone of like, I don't know what to do, whatever that might be, like I'm lost and you're by yourself, what do? You actually think you can get yourself out of that situation by yourself? You can't. You're the one that put yourself in the situation, right? So I actually believe like you can't. You need to do the thing that you don't want to do. You need to whether that's invest, right, into the right coaching, right, whatever it is, the right mastermind, the right business opportunity. You need to invest. You need to expand. You need to go outside your comfort zone. And man, it's hard. And that's what I said to you when you said that quote. I was like, what that quote was all about is if I waited every day till I felt really good to invest, do you know how many investment opportunities I would have lost? Do you know how slow my success rate would have been? Most people wait to do great things when they feel good. How about doing great things when you feel bad? Because when you feel bad and you can do great things, think about the power you have when you feel good. Right. And I know if life is all about it's just the little steps. It's not these big things. People think the overnight success. I think we talked about this last time. Yeah. Overnight success only took 10 years. Right. You just see these little things happen quick. And you think like someone like an Alex Hormozy, you know, him biggest, you know, he's like one of the biggest trending guys right now. Alex
Yeah, a
Hormozy,
lot of
right?
people bringing him up on the show.
Well, yeah, because he's in the internet marketing world, right? He's like right now the fastest growing internet marketing guru guy, right? But like if you go listen to a story, you go, okay, well, it makes sense. A, the guy is actually brilliant. He was like one of those guys in schools that got 90s. Like he had parents that if they came home and he got a 98, he'd get in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? He had Persian parents like my parents. I know what they are. I unfortunately was the kids that got the 60s, not the 90s, right? And he's built businesses and he made big chances and he's not an idiot. You know what I mean? And he invested in a mastermind that showed him, instead of doing the thing that he was great at, teach people the thing he was great at, the one to many, which was Russell Brunson mastermind. And that's when his life changed. So like circle back, like at 100%. So this year, it's funny you just say that. I literally on my paper right now just got off a phone and I have been asking business owners, I go, what are the top 5 masterminds? So I'm in the research right now, finding the top 5 masterminds that I can relate to, that I need. And I'm going to be signing up for all 5 of them. And that's going to be looking at it easily $250,000 to probably $300,000. And that scares the shit out of me. But guess what? I know that that's going to yield no problem in a year from now. I know that I'm going to say every one of those, because now I'm going there with intention as well. I know the investment I'm making. So I'm going to make sure I'm either going there for the reason, I'm going there for the season, or I'm going there for the lifetime. Right?
Could you shout any of these out?
To learn, right? Something to learn, something, one key thing that I can take away that's going to change my life. One key thing I can bring away that I can bring back to my people, change their lives, right? Season. Maybe it's a client. Maybe it's a partnership, a quick partnership. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe it's a small business, whatever it might be. Lifetime. Maybe it's a friendship like ours that can last a lifetime. Whatever it is, masterminds. Like masterminds. There's a reason. Napoleon Hill says it in the book, man. One of the greatest, you know, I say personal development books in the world. I know there's one before that, but it's like really like all the fundamentals that book says, like now as I get older, I'm like, oh my God. Like I wish they weren't just stories when I read them when I was younger. I wish they were like, I could understand how they'd be life lessons. You know what I mean?
What would your advice be to someone listening that is going to go then and put themselves in that position? Maybe they're uncomfortable. How would you navigate it to connect?
Well, first and foremost is this, right? Is if you're going to go, you got to be authentic. I've made mistakes. It's crazy because the ego, that ego, man, that gets the best of you sometimes, right? And I actually went to a mastermind. It was a small group one. It was about 15 people. It was a ski mastermind. And because I'm a really, you know, I was a really good skier, I went in with this ego. And even my business partner, like took me out a day and a half and kind of like took me upstairs. Like, he's like, what the, are we allowed to swear here?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. You sure? He said, well, what the F are you doing? He goes, what the F? What? He goes like, what the fuck are you doing? I go, what are you talking about? He's like, who are you? And like, I had to shake myself out. Like my ego was, you know, a puffed up chest walking around, and that didn't serve me. That made me look like an asshole, made my partner look like an asshole, made what my whole, like the intention to look like an asshole. But it's also a learning point. Like one thing I was like, oh my God, I was grateful enough to have a great partner there to remind me of what the hell was going on. So I had a day and a half to kind of repair myself from that. Right. And I did. I didn't just try to do it. I said, you know what, guys, hey, listen, being honest, be honest. And everyone was there, like, kind of was like, yeah, man, we all thought you were kind of an asshole. I'm like, yeah, I did too. Right. Now you don't. Now you know that was just my ego got the best of me. So people like authentic, man, especially in the world we're in, all this fake world, you're going to these masterminds. There's going to be people that are like, you know, they're going to be peacockers there. There's going to be people there way better than you. Like, I mean, we were just about a mastermind where Grant Cardone walked in. Obviously you're like, oh, fuck, this is pretty cool. Right. But like, it's like, you can't be scared. You got to be like, I'm here for a reason. I'm in the same room as these people. Clearly someone sees something in me if they had invited me into this room. So own it. I think if people are down, like fine. And that's not whole, you don't need to spend a lot of money to go to the best mastermind. You just need to spend a little bit or do something different, like get outside what you think is normal and go. Like, I know this in my life is like all the opportunity I'm missing right now and greatness that I could be achieving just as a result of not knowing. You get what I mean? There's so much out there for all of us to take. to do. I think there's greatness in every one of us. And I think there's like an abundance of opportunity and greatness for all of us. But you only know what you know, right? You got the blinders on. So if like right now, I only know this lane in my business. But I know that there is way more opportunity out there that I don't even know is possible because I have no concept of what it actually is that I'm missing. So when I go to these masterminds, that's where I learn some opportunity, because the masterminds is a group of people, all different areas, all different walks of life. They come and you kind of get better ideas. You expand, you grow, and you're like, oh my God, like I didn't even see that. Even my business partner, my business model that I have right now is completely changing because of a mastermind. Completely changing.
How so?
Well, like no problem. Usually what happens in my model is we're very boutique. So we're not at scale. We're not going out and trying to get everybody and trying to help everybody. And then we only help like one or two and then we let everyone down. And that's okay because we're in the churn model. That's like an agency model. And I get it. Like there's actually money in there, but it's just not who my partner and I, we have this idea of like, okay, if we stayed low and like not worried about being loud and actually just doing the job well, this will work out for us. Well, it doesn't. Because what happens is after I come and work with a client or a company and they're staying, say they're at 50 grand a month and we take them $500,000 a month, what does that client actually think after a while? Well, I can go do this on my own. I don't need you guys anymore because we did all the heavy lifting. It's like the plane. Where's the plane use most of the energy? Right at takeoff. That's where it uses the most energy. So they use us to do that. We get them off and then they say, oh, we can do this on our own. Or what happens, we had this issue, which sucks, is we get them so big, they get bought out. And then the big business comes in and goes, oh, what's this line that's like way bigger than it should be? Get rid of them, right? So we realize that like, hey, even playing the nice game, the nice guy, playing the card of helping and doing everything we can, not just in the sales department, the marketing, the operations, the fulfillment, just actually as our philosophy, culture on my team is it's one team. So when you come with the sales connection, it's actually and I mean it, like, and it's one team. So if I'm working with Jay Doran and you come and work with a sales connection, it's not Jay Doran and the sales connection. It's Jay Doran. And the guys we hire, the team we hire is all under you and your culture because we're here to help you build your business. Right. So I was talking to this and I was saying I was getting frustrated because you do all this great work and you change people's lives. Like we've taken businesses literally from zero to $800,000 a month, where it got so big that the entrepreneur himself can't handle it. So they're like, I can't do this anymore. I got to quit. It's like, what? We did all this work. We finally got here. And now you got to quit because we've expanded you too much. Now I got my ass kicked on that. I was so mad about that. I was so mad. And then I was at a mastermind. And the guy said, well, Kayvon, instead of being so hostile and upset about it, did you ever think about the other side? I'm like, what other side? What are you talking about? Like, what about the fact that as a result of being so good, you guys pushed this guy so far that he couldn't handle it? Now, think about how he feels. Not only does he have this overwhelm that he has to shut this down, he has you upset and pissed off at him and he feels he's letting you down. Did you ever think of that? And I was like, again, different perspective. Wow. Really, the opposite should have been, you know what? So I obviously can't mention names. You know what? So-and-so, sorry we did this to you. We should have gave you some more guidance, maybe whatever. There's just a different way of looking at it, right? Because maybe if we said that, we could have said, well, how about this? Let's not shut the business down. Let's just replace you. But we were so caught up in our emotions that we didn't even have the idea to think outside the box because we're caught up in, this emotional kind of roller coaster, right? And that's why they say, don't bring emotions to business. Like hard lessons, right? When you're emotional in business, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't go good. There's gut feeling, right? It's just like the gut. And I don't have to explain that. We all know what that is. You get this gut feeling that I think that's different than being emotionally in the head. Emotional in the head, right? Is like, oh, I'm so mad at you because you're shutting the business. We did all this hard work versus, well, why is he shutting his business down? How can we turn this into a positive instead of take it as an attack? Right. We're going through this, man. Life is like transformation. And I've realized this, like you think you get to a point, right, in your life where you think you know everything and you think you have it all figured out. And then you kind of go, well, where do I go from here? Right. And then you get to that little rut and then you got to break through. And then right before you break through, you get to this point where you have this thing called overwhelm. where you have this thing called fear, where you feel like you can only take so much at a time, right? So you're like, I can't do anymore. There's no way I can do anymore. I don't have enough time. I don't have the energy. I don't know how, all this stuff. And then if you're good, so again, the people that are fakers always break. The people that know that you got to stick in it will succeed, right? So what happens is they get through that next level. And then all of a sudden, you kind of like take on more, and you could take on more, and you've taken more on than you ever thought you could before, right? And you keep climbing these levels. And I realized, like, man, I don't think those levels ever stop. If you want to keep growing, those levels never stop. It's about this transformation. So as the business goes through transformation, the only way the business goes through transformation is that the leader's going through transformation. Because in a small business, like up until I think from 0 to about 5, some people say 10, but I think from 0 to 5 million, it's really all about like the leader of the business. It's all of their mindset.
What are your recommendations for how to have a strong partnership that evolves?
I would love, strong partnership. Oh, that's a hard one, man. So that's like, there's a reason why they say 50% or whatever, like 80% of business partnerships fail. Like, especially the 50-50, 100%. And there's a reason why they say don't go in the business with your best friend. Holy shit. Did I not listen to both those lessons, And sure enough, we're still partners. And we're still, 50-50, and we are still best friends. But it's because we have something special. Like it is something special. And I think us as humans know that, like, no matter what, the business is never worth our friendship. At the end of this, when we're 80 years old, are we going to be talking about all the money we made, or are we going to be talking about the friendship we created, right? And I think we know that. Like even if we don't say it, I think internally we're raised to believe that. So, but how do you get through it? Because there's days that we wanted, like we've had some hard talks. There's days where I wanted to quit, or he wanted to quit. And the best thing we did, just like a normal relationship, we got some couples therapy, baby. We went and got outside expert help for communication to help us communicate. And it was life-changing for the business.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Life.
What do you think?
Talking about game changing, like game changing, having a third party, it's not to mediate. It's about to communicate. It's not for someone to sit there so we can argue back and forth. It's for someone to sit there to make sure that we're both heard. We both feel seen. We both feel right. And we both know we're not making decisions out of our own fear, or out of like either it's anger, or what's the word? Come on, help me with the word. Resentment. Thank you so much. You know, yeah. We're making actual logical, smart decisions. It's very hard to know that when there's just you two and you have all this stuff going on, right? Like to have a third party in there, go, wait a minute, guys, this is what I'm hearing. And it's like, oh my God, it creates a safe place. Because even with your best friends, this, sometimes it doesn't feel safe. And when you don't feel safe, someone doesn't feel safe, they don't open up. They act, what do? They act out of anger. They act out of fear. They act out of resentment. They make emotional decisions that actually don't serve them. It's life 101, right? So
it's part of the sales connections value to open up those.
Our value, like, so our pillars that we talk about with our culture right now is one team, which I was talking about. We're all one team. The second one is the winner's DNA. And then the third thing is we call growth systems. Now, it's not just growth systems as in the systems that we're always trying to grow and better, but it's also growth systems within ourselves. Us getting better as humans, us getting better as leaders, us getting better as whatever, our profession is, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, all of that. I've like, for instance, here's a perfect example. AI came out, right? All this AI stuff, and we're all about it. And it is here. I don't care what anyone. If anybody's sitting on the fence right now and saying, I don't know about this AI, now I am going to swear here, you're fucked. You're fucked. I'm sorry. You might as well just pack up your bags right now, take a flight elsewhere, because you're going to be left behind. AI is like dial-up internet. The challenge with it is it's not going to take 10 years for high-speed internet. Like the dial-up internet, the high speed is going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years. Next 2 to 3 years is going to be game changing with AI. I can guarantee you this. However, here's what I do believe in the next 2 to 3 years. The next 2 to 3 years, AI will not replace humans. Humans who know how to use AI will be replacing humans who don't. Make sense?
Mm.
So on our team, when ChatGPT came out, and we realized very quickly, and this is very interesting for me because I'm not a developer. Like I'm not one of these, I'm not a system guy. I'm a very visionary type of guy. I'm not a guy that gets caught up in all this, the crypto, all that stuff like was, over my head. But something AI, like I saw it very quickly. And it's interesting because a lot of people use AI to build things or to like learn how to code. I would use AI immediately like I don't write an email without AI. I don't write memo. I'll tell you a story. Remind me to tell you a story about AI because you're going to love this. Okay. Just remind me to tell you a story about a lawyer and AI. Okay. I want to get back to what I was saying. So we've implemented GPT. We bought it for all of our team members, talking about culture, talking about growth systems. This is back about growing. We basically said, we'll do this for you guys. Anyone who doesn't use this, and we'll know if you're using it or not, we'll be letting you go. We'll be letting you go. It's fine and simple. It's because it's like, because me and Marcus are athletes, right? And we came from a sport, and I came from a football background, a competitive ski racing background. Now, can you imagine any sport you're playing? Imagine like, let's play, I'm going to use hockey. Hopefully everyone use hockey, right? Hockey sticks. Imagine the number one, hockey player, or someone who thinks he's number one, coming to the game today with a stick from the 80s. And saying, oh yeah, I'm here to play. No, you're not here to play. That's what AI is. That's what GPT is. It helps you increase your productivity by 30% minimum. So why wouldn't you use that? And why wouldn't I want every one of my employees and my team members using that? That's growth systems. Make sense? So if you're not using it, I can't have you because I can bring someone else who is using it and get 30% more done. So now we can do more things faster, more efficiently, more effectively, and quicker. Why would you not want to do that? Why would you be scared of something like that? It's only reason you're scared of something like that is because you're scared of yourself. And the only reason why you're scared of yourself is because you don't trust yourself. And that's a whole different world. Whole different world. So let me tell you the story about AI, because this is, I know we're just kind of getting here. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
So the Sales Connection purchased a software, which honestly, they lied to us. They said that it was going to do X, 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 X. We had 4 meetings, all this stuff, right? So we finally said, yeah, we're in. It was like $30,000 software, right? The moment, like literally the moment we did the onboarding call, we're like, this is not at all what we signed up for. So called, sent an email, came back with the whole, you signed the contract, blah, 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 blah. So I said, forget about it. I said, we're not paying it. We're not paying this due. We're not paying it. I told everyone, don't log in any systems because I don't want them to think that we're using it, right? And not paying. We're not logging in, leave it, right? 6 months later, I get an email from collections or something, or, last email saying, oh, we're going to go to collections. And I'm like, all right. I got options pay. Not going to do. I have options. Okay. Get the lawyer involved, right? So now I got to go pay the lawyer. And I don't know if you know, if you ever had to pay lawyers, right? This thing takes probably to do something so simple like that would take 6 months and cost me at least $10,000 or $15,000 in lawyer fees. So what am I saving? 15 grand. Or I can go in the ChatGPT as a CEO with no law degree, nothing, doesn't even know how to write a proper email. Say, ChatGPT, here's a situation. Here's the letter I received. Please write back responding, we will not pay because they broke some. I said, whatever laws that are in the contract, right? I want you to use lawyer terminology. And I want you to send this as if it was a CEO being advised by their lawyers. I press enter. Boom. I send it. 2 days later, huge, this law email comes. Again, this would take it. I don't even read it. I don't even read the email that came back to me. I control copy paste it. I put it in ChatGPT and I go, please respond. It responds back. I send it out. 2 days later, they send me another long letter with 2 lines at the end. After review with our lawyer team, blah, blah, blah. We agree. We're no longer a fit. We agree. Da, da, da. You don't have to pay. Something that would take, I'm not lying to you. I'm not lying when I say this. And I said 6 months. That's probably maybe a little exaggeration. Probably not actually. If you have a really good law team, but something that could take 3 to 6 months and anywhere between $10,000 to $15,000 in law fees, right? For my company, I did in total, maybe 2 hours. And now people are sitting here and saying, I don't know about AI. They're questioning AI. And this, now keep in mind when I'm talking to you, this is stuff I'm talking to you is like low level stuff. Like I'm talking Mickey Mouse on Mickey Mouse train stuff. We're not talking about AI where like what it can do, like how it actually is like takes my voice and now sends voicemails. I don't know if you know about that, right? Like someone just showed me that. I was like, I can't believe like my marketing team sent me a voicemail that I never said that sounded just like me. It was actually my wife that was like, that's a little off. I'm like, what? I thought it was me. And, you know, like my wife thought she said it's really, really good. It's put off, but like, who would ever know that, right? To the images, like I mean, like, okay. So a friend of mine created, he's trying to sell it now. He would worked forever on this software with AI, blah, 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 blah. And I mean, I'm talking, we asked him, like what he showed us, I was like, you could tell her, I was like, how many hours? He's like 110 hours. Okay. Most people don't do that, right? He put 110 hours into just building this thing in like a very short period of time. And he said, watch what he does. He literally put my website in and he pressed enter. And within 10 minutes, I had a full 75-page, 10-chapter book based off our business. And it read better than I could ever write it. And it was more detailed with facts, more than I would ever take, which would take someone sometimes months, sometimes years. You know, you've written books, takes a while, done in 10 minutes. But AI's a fad. They say AI is a fad. It's insane.
So what do you think of it?
I think it's I think it's the scariest. I think it's the craziest and scariest thing that has invention that has ever happened in human history. I really do. And I fear what it's going to do and how it's going to literally take over jobs, possibly my job, who knows, take over all this stuff. But the one thing I do know in life is there's moments in life, in the 100 years, 80 years that you live, where you can get these opportunities. And people say there's opportunity everywhere. There is opportunity everywhere. There is always opportunity everywhere. But I feel like there's major life things, events that happen for people to either grow or shrink, to evolve or to die. And I believe we're right now in one of the biggest ones since the Great Depression. This is I don't know if you know, in the Great Depression, that's where the most millionaires were made, because the rich just invested and the poor got poor. We are in that right now. People don't really realize that. We're in that right now. Like the middle class, they said it. I remember in 2000, I think it was 2008, 2009, after that the whole real estate thing that happened in the States there. I'm Canadian, right? So I don't really care about it. Know what happened. That I remember that people were saying after this, the middle class is going to die. And I was like, how's that pot? Oh, it's there. It's literally the middle class. You either are going to go do things that you never did before so you can get above it and be at the next level, or you're going to try to stay in the game and you're going to have poor. And then the poor are going to be poor, which is really sad. Like there's going to be a lot of people on streets, a lot.
Are you looking at this next 3, 4, 5, 6 years as a gold rush in a sense?
Yes. 100%. I was just talking to my business partner, maybe screaming at him earlier today, literally about that. I said, right now we have two things we're working on, the AI. And I said, right now we have an opportunity. I said, we have the first advantage mover, right? And he's like, there's so many people doing it. You're right. There's so many people right now that are doing it. But if you actually look at the stat, I think it's something like only like 25% of Americans are using ChatGPT. So we get lost. Here's something we can do. We're lost in our world because all I see is AI, but that's my world right now. Like all I see is all these people. Everyone's talking about AI, but if you go to the grand scheme of things, it's actually not like that. So this is a gold rush. This is an opportunity for people to do very well with AI and make a lot of money. The problem with this is Google and these guys that own all of this are so advanced. They're like stealing your ideas and they're, multiplying them and whatever it is. So you just got to figure out, like, whatever you're building, whatever you're going to invest in, you gotta look at, okay, can this be replaced in a year from now? Can this replace it be in 6 months? Can someone duplicate this? So it's just like running any kind of business, but there's an opportunity to do very well here. Very, very well here. There's going to be an opportunity in the next 2 to 3 years to do well again in real estate, because in the next 2-3 years, I forget what it is. There's a percentage of people I know in Canada for sure where the mortgages are coming up for renewal. They're going to be screwed. Like, it's actually a scary thing, but they're going to be screwed. I'm talking about people that are doctors and lawyers that have just over leveraged themselves. Like, you know what I mean? A little too much. You add an extra like they're paying 3% for a mortgage. So you take an average family who's paying, say, 3% for a mortgage, and say they said, okay, $4,000 was a little stretch, but we can do this, we can do that. Now, and they're comfortable for a while. Now they're making they're $4,000 for their mortgage payment. 3 years from now, it's 6%. Now they're paying $8,000 for their mortgage. Some people, they won't have the money to do that because they're not just paying $8,000 for the mortgage. They're also paying now $10 for the eggs. My eggs at a shitty grocery store are $10.
For how many?
$10 for a carton of eggs, which used to be $3.99.
That's 12 eggs.
Pierogies at the my wife, I'm like, stop doing this. I know you don't have a $20 problem, but like, stop. If you keep doing this, you're just going to show that people can afford it, right? Like, my wife went to the market and bought these special pierogies. It was 10 pierogies for $25. 10 pierogies for $25. That's insane. I made
like caviar.
Well, like, that's like, come on, man. Like, that's crazy. Like, some people listen to this. What's this guy talking about? This guy's ludicrous. What I'm trying to say is, you go look at I look at it all levels. I look at it like what it's real estate doing. I look at what what gas is doing. I look at what the eggs are doing, like all of this stuff. And then I connecting all the dots to what's going on in the world.
Do you use this as motivation to work so hard?
That's my motivation. My motivation for sure is if I believe with what I'm saying to be true, which is the middle class is going to be gone. We're going to be in 2020, 30, right? We're going to be living in a world. We're going to own nothing, be perfectly happy. That means that 90% of the world is going to be on subscription. Okay. So let's just say I fall on that. Say I don't make that 10%. Then that 10% is billionaire status stuff, right? Like multi-millionaire. Let's just say I don't get quite there in my life. Okay. I go, okay, that's fine. I can handle that. Okay. So then what's my option? Then I'm on the subscription. So then it's about, okay, so that means the person who has the most money can handle the most subscription and still live a good life. So then I go, okay, shit, that means I need cash flow because subscriptions are monthly or biweekly. So now having money just stuck in real estate that isn't producing me cash flow isn't going to be good because I'm not going to be able to afford my monthly subscription. So then I go, okay, shit. So now I have 3 to 4 years, 5 years to get as much cash as I can to accumulate, to invest them into investments that pay me back. Like, so we talk about, people, the real estate pays you back. You know, another one I'm looking into, which I'm like really looking to do, storage units. You own the land, no tenants, and you get monthly recurring income, right? Or even just your GICs right now. GICs in Canada, you can put money in there, only leave them in there for 6 months, and then you could take them out anytime tax-free, 5% return. But who gives a shit about 5%? Well, listen, when you got $5 million, you put 5%, that's not bad, right? So my goal right now is accumulate as much cash as I can, put them in all these cash-producing real assets, so that if I get caught in 2030, 2035 on the subscription model, I then know for sure I have cash to pay, and that's fine. And this, because I heard this, cash is trade. It's not, you're not giving up your cash, you're trading your cash. Do you know what I mean? It's people like, I've either convinced you to give me money, your money to me, and someone else is going to convince me to give the money that you just gave to me to them. And that's how this whole cash roll. No one actually prints, no one gets to make money. You don't get to make money. You get to trade money, right? The only people making money is the governments. That's it. So I want as much cash as I can trade as possible. So my goal is to provide the best value and service, because I believe that you can make money certain ways, but I believe if you just keep your head down, do the best you can, create the best value and the best service, people would be happy to trade the dollars for you. And I'm okay with that. So I'll take their dollars, I'll invest those dollars into things that'll keep producing me the cash so that I can live this world, whatever.
What do you think the new millionaire is?
Oh, okay. Put it this way. I tell people this. If the money I even was making today in the 90s, I'd be a multi-millionaire. All right. Like in the 90s, if you were making 150, 200 grand, you were in the big home. You had probably 2 homes, you had 2 nice cars, you had the cottage, like life was good. Today, making 150 grand, like you're freaking poor, man. You're just making, you might be trying to make and I'm not, it sounds, I hate it because people are like, you're such an asshole. I'm like, yeah, I am an asshole, but I'm sorry. I just know what life is. And like, I see, like, if you want to live a shitty, mundane life, like you can survive on 100 grand a year, maybe like, but like you're living a pretty shitty,
What's
mundane
like
life.
good money?
And then what happens? What happens if you get sick? If you're in the States, what happens? What happens if they decide to jack up the insurance plans and you can't afford the insurance and then you get sick? You're done. You're done. You're not even done. You can't even afford the bills. So then let's talk about being a millionaire. People who say, oh, I have $1 million. And I love it. And I'm not going to use this. Grant says it. He's like, $1 million is trash. And I always like, come on, Grant. And then I'm like, realize he's actually right. So I have $1 million today, but I just find out my kid has cancer. I have $0. I will have $0. I go bankrupt. I just had a a guy on my team called me. He had to quit. What's going on? He's like, just found out my kid's sick. I have to sell my house. I have to move in with my parents. And this is a guy with skills. This is a guy that makes, like, this guy makes 30 to 40 grand a month. And so you can only imagine, you can only imagine how bad it must be to have the amount of money. Because I talked to my business partner who used to work in healthcare, and he said, guaranteed leukemia. The only thing that costs that much is like leukemia. And it's like, okay, well, that's crazy. So you go back to the question, well, how rich do you need to be? Well, can you afford $1 million leukemia bill if it happens? Right? So like, I personally think, I don't know. I don't want, like, my personal thing, if you're not making $1 to $2 million a year, you're not going to be living this good life. And that's now that's like the life. Okay. So the 1 to 2 million a year is what the 200 grand was in the 90s.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I actually think so. Big time.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because after taxes, all this stuff, man, it's nothing. It's nothing. So then you talk about guys that are making $3, $4, $5 million a month. So my personal goal is to have $250,000 recurring income a month, regardless if I wake up or not that day. That's my goal. I've done my math, and with inflation and everything, that will get me to the life that I want, that I find that most people are going to laugh when I say this. That is like the average, like the stability of the life that I want. Like this is like my low ball is that. Yeah. Anything above is like, all right, that's just because I want more, or because I got lucky, or because I need more, right? Like, I'm not one that needs to be a billionaire. I know who you have to become to try to be a billionaire. And I don't want to have to be that person. I know who you have to become to have to make $100 million. And I don't even know if I want to be that person, but I know what you have to do good things, do great things, and accumulate money to get to that 30 to 50 to 60 million. And I'm okay with that. I think 30 to 40, 50 million is like a good, like, you're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing good. Would you agree?
Are you saying net worth?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Net worth. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you said 250,000 a month.
Yeah.
Passive. Well, in your view, what are some of the ways to get that, the level of principal?
Yeah. So you got to build. That's a great question.
What do you think?
So you
like,
got to build. You're not going to do that.
Right?
You're not going to do that on one thing. You're like, unless you build in a software, like unless you get lucky and you sell your company, it's got to be multiple things, right? It's so again, real estate.
What are some channels for, the lay person that's thinking, because we have a lot of listeners that they do well, but maybe they're not thinking in this way yet.
Oh, they do well. They're probably thinking different ways, but they're like, if like, for instance, right now, if someone was sitting on a lot of cash right now, and then people are saying cash is trash, I would say put it into like, personally, I'm not a financial advisor, man. Like, so like, do not.
Oh yeah. This is not financial advice.
Like
you should say that
this is for, okay. This is, you don't have opportunity. So say you have all this cash right now and you're like sitting on it. You're like, I don't have opportunity right now. Like someone's not giving you an opportunity to invest it into better things. You're kind of, what do I do? I personally would be putting into only something like a GIC. And I'll tell you why. It's not the greatest advice, but because it's going to give me my 5%. So at least I know it's working for me. And I would be watching the markets, and I'd be ready to take that money out when it was time to strike. And I think the time to strike is going to be like in the next 2 years, big time. Because as soon as like, if you start seeing again, the same thing that happened in 2008, the real estate, go buy all those homes because everyone else doesn't have the money to afford them. You're not going to be able to buy them for the dollars and the penny. Right. And then guess what's going to happen as we know this, they're going to go back up. And now you're going to have 4 or 5 homes, maybe 6, 7 homes, whatever it is. And they're going to be like, sure, it's going to be hard right now, but then you're going to have all that money to leverage. Now, here's the one thing I'm learning as I get more successful and deal with more successful people. These people don't use their money, use the bank's money. You know that, lines of credits. They use the lines of credits, like OPM, other people's money. I used to say this when I was 20, but OPM, I thought it was like your money. I wasn't thinking OPM like, oh, the bank's money. And the bank is going to give you as much money as you want if you can show that you have assets and you have all these things, right? So if you have 3, 4 homes, do you know how much money you actually have access to? You have so much money and so much access to money to then take that money and keep investing and investing and investing. And then it pays for itself. You get what I'm saying? So whether it's real estate, either it's AI, either it's tech, whatever it is, like I told you, I don't want to tell everyone storage units because I don't want everyone to go again. There's the Airbnb. I know guys that are crushing Airbnb. Crushing. I got a guy right now, he's building a second home on his property specifically for Airbnb. Why? Subscription base. People are going to be living on subscription base. You know, you heard about the BMW. You heard about cars in Europe right now.
No.
Oh my God. This is where I'm like getting really scared. So when I hear about this whole subscription-based stuff and my first mind goes, bullshit. It's just all conspiracy. But then you start looking into it and you start reading it and you start thinking about 2 things. I go like this. Okay, well, the guy said this to me. He goes, okay, Kayvon, do you own music? No. Oh, I pay subscription. Oh shit. Kayvon, do you own videos? No, I pay subscription. Kayvon, do you own a gym? No, I pay a subscription. It's like, oh shit, you don't even realize it. That gets to the next level. BMW in Europe. You want AC in your car, subscription. You want heated seats, subscription. You want the better stereo system, subscription. You pay monthly to have that so they can go beep with a button, turn it off. That's the power that they want. And they say, you guys all know the Matrix. Like, come on. I'm not, anyone that doesn't believe.
Well, what's the value in that?
Control. It's all they want is control at this point. Because when you're like, I don't want them on me, but when you're like, when you're to get to the Vanguards and the Black Rocks and you get to that, those guys have more money. They have more money than you know what to do with it. I mean, more money than our brains could ever even possibly comprehend. So it's not about more money. What it's about control. They want to control. It's all about who can control the most, control everyone, control the people. Right? I don't want to get into that. I don't want people to think I'm
I love you. Is there not a case to be made that it also gives you and me control?
What control do you have or do I have right now when I'm paying 4 times for my eggs? My real estate's gone up 25%. My the interest rate's gone up 5%. You tell me what control you have.
It's the best response ever.
The only control I have is to navigate the game.
I guess
so. The only control I have is this.
Think of this. Yeah.
This is what I think. Let me just say this. This is what I think.
Sure.
I'm not here. I'm sorry. I'm not the guy that's going to go on the picket line and start picketing because I think that's stupid. Because I think this is so much bigger than me and bigger than us and bigger than all of this. You cannot control it. So what can you control? You can control yourself. You can control your destiny. You can control your future. And you control what you do in these circumstances. So the best thing I can control is the things that I can do. And what can I do? I can, again, bring value to where I know I can bring value to, accumulate, make smart decisions, try to be the best father, the best, the best lover, the best man that I possibly can be, try to be a smart, savvy businessman and try to accumulate the income that I want to accumulate for myself so that I can control my world in this big world that I can't control. So if they want to raise interest rates, who gives a shit? I can at least afford it. Sucks. but I can afford it. They want to increase my mortgage rate, whatever it is. Well, hopefully you buy your house, don't even have that. But you know what I mean? They want to, eggs, they want to bring down to $50. Okay, so eggs are $50. Who gives a shit? At least I can afford it. I don't have to worry about it. Because I'm not going to control that, but I can control what happens around that. Does that make sense? So I'm not a Mother Teresa, and I'm not this Gandhi. I'm not this guy who thinks that I'm going to go in, change the world. I actually don't want to do that. I wasn't meant to do that. What I was meant to do was do something great within my like my own sphere, like in my own realm, right? Do something great for my family, for my friends, do something great for my community. And as long as I can do that, I'm happy. And I'll just try to navigate what the hell comes our way, you know, because we're talking about this. We're talking about all the stuff that's happening in the school systems and all this LGBTQ, all this stuff like that. And I sit there and like a little bit of me, I toss at night going, is it time? Is it time I actually throw myself in the fire? Like, is it time I go in and I start fighting this fight? Right. And because someone needs to fight it, it's actually ridiculous. Then I ask myself, okay, then what do I get out of this? Like, me going and fighting this fight against this huge matrix that even like guys like Andrew Tate are getting thrown in jail for, who has way more money and control than I have right now, right? Like, can't even make a dent into it. What am I going to actually do? Really? Like, you know, I'm a realist. I'm not one of these guys that think, oh, I'm so high and mighty. So I go, that energy that I would go there, does it make sense? Or the energy I have, does it make sense to put it, to make sure that I can put a box around my family and my children, and that I can control that environment? So what's on control? I'm not sending them to the school system. I'm going to bring in private tutoring. I'm not going to be the tutor. I'm not the tutor. I'm not the teacher. People think homeschool means parents. No, homeschool means I'm going to bring a private educator in that I can control the narrative so that my child can grow in the world that I want them to grow in and see the world that I want them to see, and not the world, the agenda, right? The matrix wants them to see. Do you get what I'm saying?
You want to be what you dislike about the government to your kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to be able to control that. So I can control that.
What would you like, you know, the audience?
The audience needs to know this. The audience needs to know this. We live in a world where the culture is so fucked up. So if you want to change the culture, first change your own culture. Change the culture you can control. So that starts with your family. If you're an individual, that's you. It's you and your own spirit. It's you and your body. It's your mind, all of it. It's your finances, all of that. You first change the culture there. Then you take that amazing culture you've created for yourself and you start adopting it to your friends, to your community. If people don't like it, it's okay, because people aren't going to like it. You're going to get more haters. I always love this one. I don't judge my success on the people that love me. I judge my success on the amount of people that hate me. If I have bigger haters, that means I'm doing something great. If you don't have haters, that means you're not big enough. Okay. I'm just going to leave it there. So, and I know that I'm on a mission. So first you can control that. If you have your own business, definitely you got to, and you don't have culture, here's something. If you don't have a culture, you do have a culture. You just don't realize it. Your culture is something you just don't know. That's like every business, everything has a culture. So you got to control that narrative and understand what it is and what it is you're trying to achieve in it, and get everyone to buy into that culture, right? That's what I would be telling the people. If there's people here that are working like the day to day and are sitting here going, I just want to do something different, or how do I get out of the day to day? I would say there's only one place to go, which is online. Like online or AI. Those are the only two places you can go at a 17 or an 18-year-old and make more money than a doctor, a physician, whatever it is. Like the reality is, like, bankers, right? Like investment bankers are the only other people I know that can make a really lot of money, but you got to give up 20 years of your life to do that. You give up 20 years of your life and you can start making the $3 to $4 to $5 million a year. I don't want to give up 20 years of my life to make $3 to $4 million a year. When you can be a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, and you can learn about online marketing. You can learn about direct response marketing. You can learn about podcasting. You can learn about affiliate marketing. All of these things that you can do. And you don't have to be great at them. You just got to be good at them, and you can make 10, 15 grand a month. And 10, 15 grand a month, I'll tell you, this is a lot better than most people are making right now in their day. And you get to do that from home. Plain. And if you have someone with a lot of money, people with a lot of money don't have investment issues. So it's hard for me to give advice to people with a lot of money. But like, if you're someone who has some money sitting there and you're wondering what to do with it, and you're like, I would say keep cash, like keep liquid, because there's an opportunity coming and you want to be able to pull that to invest. Because like I said, I have this inkling in the next 2 to 3 years. Mark my word on this. There's going to be more millionaires made and there's going to be more people born. Unfortunately, there's going to be such a separation, and the people that have the cash flow to invest are going to thrive. And the ones that are just holding on, I don't know what they're going to do. I feel bad. I really do feel bad. Like my mother, like if it wasn't for me, my mother would be dead. Like she wouldn't have a home to live in. Like, you know what I mean? Like my dad believed in the whole like pension game, right? Hey, we work hard for a company, maybe get your pension, make 50 grand a year. Like fucked. Thanks, dad. Bye. Like, thanks. Like my mom would be done. People like my mom would be done. And that's what they want. That's the baby boomers. Don't even get me started there. They want them all dead because they cost the most. They cost society the most money. That's why they, I'm not going to go in the COVID world, but yeah, the COVID, who did COVID take out? Did it take out guys like you and I? No, they took out the adults. Did they take out even children? No, people said it didn't. No, it didn't take out any children. It took out people who were not healthy, had inflammation in their body, excessive inflammation, or elderly. And I could say that no one could sit there and say that isn't true because my dad died to COVID because of it. My dad took the shot, walked upstairs, fell down, dead. What? So I could say that I lost my, I didn't even lose him to COVID I didn't lose him because he got sick. I lost him because they gave him the fucking shot. So, and no one could sit here and say that I don't have the right to say anything like that. So I just want to put that out there. Yeah, it's crazy.